that life-threatening status has been downgraded to non-life-threatening. So the 5 remaining victims are now in non-life-threatening condition, thankfully. I'm going to be naming the suspect, or I'm sorry, the 2 deceased victims today. So we have Sean D. Jackson, age 18, and Renzo R. Smith, age 36. I was asked about it last night, but we now can confirm that these individuals are stepfather and stepson. I also remarked about a 9-year-old girl that was struck by a vehicle during the chaos. She is still in non-life-threatening condition with very minor injuries, but she is related to this family as well. The suspect in this case is going to be Amari Pollard, age 19. He is a resident of Henrico County. He was arraigned this morning in Richmond General District Court on 2 counts of second-degree murder. He is being held without bond. Further charges are still pending. Some of the other updates last night, we had our community, our Richmond community mediators respond to the scene and later to the hospital to address some of the concerns of the family and try to address any ongoing retaliatory incidents. We're trying to work on that with that specific group. They're commonly referred to formally as the violence interrupters. I'd also like to add our tip line. We have a hotline specifically for this event. You can call 804-646-6741 if the community has information they'd like to share. That's the best number to call. Or as always, you can call Crime Stoppers at 804-780-1000. That way you can remain anonymous. With the assistance of the FBI, I've asked them to create a site where individuals can send us their videos. As I mentioned last night, we know there were many people outside during this event who had their own personal video cameras going from their phone. We'd ask folks from the community to send it to this site, upload videos and photos. I've been getting texts on my phone. I know members of City Council have been getting them randomly from folks. We would just ask that you can send it however you want, but this is a better venue for us to deal with the literal hundreds of hours that our detectives are pouring through at this time. Last night also there was questions about the individuals involved in this being involved in gangs. At this point, our investigators have not determined that. There's no information that we have that they are gang members. We believe that the 2 individuals, Sean Jackson and Amari Pollard, knew each other. This is a mass shooting, but we don't believe it was what is typically referred to as an active shooter. This was targeted at one individual, and so they knew each other and had an ongoing dispute. That's what we know at this time. But again, as I said, this is still a fluid situation. We're hours into the investigation, and we will learn more as we go. At this point, I'd like to introduce Mayor Stoney.
Thank you so much, Chief Edwards. And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let me begin with offering my thoughts and my prayers to the families and friends of the victims this morning, and all those who were impacted yesterday by this mass shooting. I hope that everyone is on a swift path to recovery from their injuries, and from what we hear from the chief, they are. I also want to thank mayors from all across the country, clergy right here in this community, community leaders, those in the county as well, for all their messages of comfort during this most very difficult time. Yesterday, our city was devastated by a horrific, traumatic, and senseless act of gun violence at Huguenot High School's graduation ceremony. A graduation, a momentous day for many of our students, a day that should have been a moment of joy and celebration with friends and family, was taken away in seconds, and lives changed forever. A student and stepfather lost their lives, and several were injured, as the chief just shared. Now, our city, our community will not be defined by this violence. Huguenot High School will not be defined by this violence. For those here and for those out there in the community, I know that for this to happen at a high school graduation, I know many are overcome with grief, and I know that many are very angry right now. Well, let me be clear to Richmonders. We will heal, we will recover, and this will not break us. What I know about Richmonders is that we are strong, we are resilient, and I know that we will get through this. To the students, to the families, to the faculty, and to all Richmonders, I want you to know that your city has your back. We have resources available through our City Parks and Recreation Department for those who work in human services, services like our Trauma Healing Response Network that we've activated. After a traumatic event like what happened yesterday, we all need to come together. We all need to support our neighbors, check in with our friends and families, and still lift each other up in this most difficult time. As this is an ongoing investigation by the Richmond Police Department, and I know they're still gathering information, I ask that you all heed the recommendation from Chief Edwards. If you have any information at all regarding what occurred yesterday, please call 804-646-6741. Additionally, we believe there must be accountability for this violence. The individual who committed this senseless and cowardly act must be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. To the full extent of the law. And before I close, I want to thank all our partners. This has never been a one-person show. For all those who responded yesterday, the Richmond Police Department, the Richmond Fire Department, the Richmond Emergency Communications, Richmond Ambulance Authority, VCU Police and staff, the Virginia State Police, the Henrico Police Department, Richmond Public Schools, the staff over at the Altria Theater, and our federal partners at the FBI. I want to say thank you for your assistance yesterday during this unfortunate tragedy, and I want to thank you all for your service. For Richmonders, this must be the time that we put down guns and lift up our hearts. This must be that moment. We know our history, and we know we all want peace. We want peace. Every elected official here, every community leader here stands together because we are begging our community for peace. Whether at graduations or whether in your own community or in your neighborhood, this is the time for us to put down firearms and lift up our hearts. Mr. Cameras, Chairwoman Rizzi, the City of Richmond stands with the Richmond Public Schools. And please let us know, is there anything further we can do? Mr. Cameras.
Good morning. My name is Jason Cameras. I'm the superintendent of Richmond Public Schools, and I'm joined this morning by our school board chair, Ms. Stephanie Rizzi, our vice chair, Mrs. Cheryl L. Burke, along with board members Ms. Nicole Jones and Mrs. Mariah White. I would like to begin by expressing my deepest condolences to Ms. Smith. Yesterday, she lost her son, Sean, who had just graduated from Huguenot High School moments before the shooting, and her husband, and Sean's father, Lorenzo Smith. As superintendent, as a father, as a husband, and as a son, I grieve today with Ms. Smith and her family. And I know many of our students are grieving too. Any who need immediate crisis support, please call the Richmond Behavioral Health Authority Crisis Support Line at 804-819-4100. Again, 804-819-4100. I didn't know Sean, but I shook his hand and wished him congratulations about 20 minutes before he died. Those who did know Sean described him as bubbly and the life of the party. Getting to the graduation stage was not easy for Sean. Nonetheless, he did it. And he was rightly proud, smiling and celebrating like all of his peers. Then, just a few minutes later, while enjoying the moment with his family in Monroe Park, he was gunned down. I can't shake the image of him receiving CPR on the ground, still in his graduation gown. Sean was not the only RPS student shot in the last 24 hours. Last night, 3 Armstrong students were wounded in 2 different incidents. This just needs to stop. I'm tired of the vigils, the well-meaning thoughts and prayers, and the hand-wringing. We need action. We need fewer guns on our streets. We need more mental health support for our children. And we need more help from the state and the federal government on education, healthcare, and housing. And let's not make this a red issue or a blue issue. Can't we just make it a child issue? Can't we agree that we all love our children and we need to do better by them? And I'm pleading with our community. Please speak up when you see something or hear something. Please secure your weapons. Please look after one another. Please do all you can to give our children hope. We need everyone in the Richmond Village to pitch in to protect our children, everyone. And to those outside of Richmond who are intent on painting our young people with a broad brush of negativity, shame on you. Our students are the brightest, hardest working, and most compassionate young people I have ever met. I am enormously honored and grateful to serve them every day. Finally, to our students, we love you, and we will always be here for you. Thank you.
All right, at this point, I'll answer a few questions.
Chief, can you drill down on a possible motive? You said the 2 of them had a dispute. Can you give us any more detail on what the motive could have been, as much detail as you can?
Yeah, again, this is the beginning stages. They knew each other.